your child may grow up and really may not do well on those tests because you haven't trained them in revisionist history. You haven't trained them in cultural Marxism. You haven't trained them in critical race theory. And so when they get to a lot of these tests that they're supposed to be standardized in, your child probably won't be standardized and may not do real well on those tests. And it doesn't mean that your child isn't smart. It doesn't mean that they're not educated. It just means they were educated differently.
Let's move to another question. This is also from Leah. She said, any encouragement for that as we move into high school years? Also, speaking of high school, if they want to go to college, how do you challenge them without standardizing them?
Well, I mean, again, the whole system of college is predicated on standardization. So if you plan to have your child have a career, a college track, then you kind of have to fit into the standardization mold, particularly in high school. Because you are preparing them for the entrance exams and the classes and all that they're going to be taking. So it is difficult. I think, honestly, in some ways, it's going to be more difficult as time goes forward in the future for homeschoolers to do well. This is my hunch on like college entrance exams and things like that, because I just expect that increasingly the standards for getting into college are going to be increasingly woke. And if you haven't taught to the test, if you haven't taught their standards, your child may grow up and really may not do well on those tests because you haven't trained them in revisionist history. You haven't trained them in cultural Marxism. You haven't trained them in critical race theory. And so when they get to a lot of these tests that they're supposed to be standardized in, your child probably won't be standardized and may not do real well on those tests. And it doesn't mean that your child isn't smart. It doesn't mean that they're not educated. It just means they were educated differently by different standards. And so there are concerns I actually have moving forward that I think college increasingly is just going to be a place that's going to be harder for independent-minded homeschoolers who weren't raised in the lockstep system to get in. I think they're going to have more of a challenge. They'll probably have to kind of be educated and coached in this is what they're looking for, and this is what these are the answers they want, so to speak. So anyway, but yeah, you basically have to kind of learn how to conform to their standards if you want to enter into that realm. It's kind of the nature of it.
Yeah. Wow. I actually never really thought about that before, Israel. That is a really, really good point. Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.